The planet Rethora was once green and calm. Forests covered its surface, and shining rivers flowed through its valleys. The Rethan people, tall and gentle, lived in peace for centuries. They were not warriors or explorers. Their hands were made for farming, not fighting. But peace does not last forever. A great solar storm swept through their system and burned the land. The sky turned red for months. The crops died, and radiation filled the air. Their technology could not protect them from the endless heat and sickness. One city after another went silent. The survivors gathered in the mountain shelters, weak and afraid. The Rethen Council met in an underground chamber. The air smelled of dust and metal. The leader, Aaron, stood before a flickering screen. "We have sent requests to the neighboring worlds," he said, his voice heavy with worry. But no one answers. A younger member of the council, Sira, spoke with trembling hands. "The Hauric Confederation demanded tribute. They want us to give them our mineral rights for 100 years. The Dravik Syndicate offered protection in exchange for half our population as labor." Aaron lowered his head. The Rethen were not strong enough to refuse, yet accepting such offers meant losing their freedom. "There must be another way," he whispered. "Someone must listen." Their communication officer, a thin Rethen named Tyr, adjusted the signal booster. "There is one more world in this sector," he said. "It is not part of any major alliance. A young species from the blue planet called Earth." Sarah looked uncertain. "Humans. They are new to space. What can they offer us?" Tyr replied quietly, "Hope, perhaps." Aaron hesitated for a long time before giving the order. "Send the message." Across the stars, a signal left Rethora's dying orbit. It carried one simple plea. "To any who hear this, we ask for shelter. We have no weapons. We have no strength left. We seek only safety for our children." Days passed, then weeks. The Rethen began to lose faith. They believed no one would come. But one night, as the last power cells flickered, the screen glowed with a soft blue light. Voice spoke through the static. "Calm, steady, human. This is the United Terran Fleet. We have received your signal. Coordinates confirmed. Relief units en route. Hold position. Help is coming." The Rethen stared at the screen in silence. Sira's eyes widened. They answered. Aaron felt a strange warmth spread through him. "Yes," they answered. 2 days later, the sky of Rethora trembled. The survivors climbed to the surface to see the first light they had not feared in months. It was not the burning sun, but the glow of engines descending through the clouds. 3 ships came. The first was large and broad, marked with the white and blue colors of Earth. The second was smaller, with symbols of the Terran medical corps. The third moved slowly above them, dark and silent. It shaped like a hawk watching from the sky. The Rethen stepped back as the first ship landed. Dust blew across the dead soil. The ship's door opened, and humans stepped out wearing sealed suits. Their helmets shone in the sunlight. One of them raised a hand in greeting. "Rethen people, I am Commander Mira of the United Terran Fleet," she said through her translator. "We come in peace. We bring supplies and aid." Aaron approached, his long cloak dragging across the ground. "You came for us," he said softly. Mira nodded. "You called for help." "We heard." Behind her, teams of humans began unloading containers. Metal walls unfolded into shelters. Robots rolled across the ground laying out solar panels. Another group opened, crates marked with a red cross, releasing small drones that began scanning the wounded. The Rethen watched with disbelief. "They are building already," Sarah whispered. "They did not ask for payment or permission." Aaron turned to Mira. "You do this freely?" Mira smiled behind her visor. "Shelter is not a business. It is a promise." As the sun set, bright lights from the human camp lit up the valley. The humans worked through the night. They repaired generators, set up water filters, and distributed food packs. Every Rethen family received blankets and medicine. Children gathered around the human medics. Watching the floating drones patch up wounds and deliver clean water, the air began to smell of life again, not decay. For the first time in months, the Rethen felt safe enough to sleep. The next morning, the Rethan saw the third ship again. It hovered high above, patrolling the horizon. Large cannons lined its wings, and small fighters circled it like guardians. Sira frowned. Why do they bring war machines? Mira overheard the question. She walked closer, removing her helmet. Her face was calm but serious. Those are not for war. They are for defense. You are weak right now, and there are those who prey on the weak. We will not allow it. Erin studied her eyes. You came not only to heal, but to protect, as Mira said. Earth sends help in 3 forms. Builders, to give shelter. Medics, to bring life. Soldiers, to guard peace. The Ratheen had never known such balance. Most civilizations they met valued one thing over another, either power or trade or control. But these humans mixed strength with compassion. It was strange and new. During the next few days, human engineers built clean water lines, digging through layers of ash to reach underground springs. The medics opened clinics, treating sicknesses the Rethan thought were fatal. The builders raised shelters that could stand against radiation storms. The gunship continued to circle the colony. At night, its lights moved like stars across the sky. Some Ratheen feared it. Others took comfort in its watchful presence. One evening, while Mira stood on a ridge overlooking the valley, Erin approached her. You have done more for us in a week than anyone else in decades, he said. Mira shook her head. You would have done the same for us? Erin smiled faintly. We are not sure we could. Our people have forgotten how to fight or build so fast. We depended on peace too long. Mira looked toward the glowing city below. Then maybe this is how peace begins again. With help that expects nothing in return. The Ratheen children began helping the human workers. They carried tools, planted new seeds, and watched the humans with wide eyes. Some even tried to copy the human greetings. But one night, the humans detected something unusual. A faint signal near the system's edge. Commander Mira gathered her officers in the communication tent. Unidentified ships approaching, reported a technician. No official codes. Likely raiders. Mira's eyes hardened. How long? 2 days if they stay on course. Mira gave the order quietly. Activate patrol pattern Gamma. Keep the civilians calm. The next morning, the humans continued their work as if nothing had changed. The builders sang while welding metal beams. The medics taught the Rethan how to use the new water filters. The children played near the clinic, but above them, the gunship shifted its path, taking up a tighter orbit. The Rethan noticed, but no one asked. They trusted their new friends. Still, Erin could feel tension growing in the air. He found Mira near the command station and asked, Something is coming, isn't it? Mira did not hide the truth. Yes, we believe pirates have found your signal. They prey on weak colonies. But we are ready. Erin's eyes widened. You risk your people for us? Mira looked straight at him. You asked for shelter. Shelter means safety. Safety means defense. That is how humans understand it. Erin was silent. He had heard stories of humans before, wild creatures from a violent world, always fighting, but what he saw now was something else. They fought not for conquest, but for protection. They built not to rule, but to give hope. That night, as he looked up at the stars, he saw the gunship shining like a silent guardian. For the first time in many cycles, he felt no fear of the dark. The Rethan began to call the human camp the haven of blue fire, because of the bright engines that glowed in the night sky. Songs were written about the day when strangers came from afar, whirled and turned despair into strength. Children whispered that the humans carried the hearts of sons inside their armor. The elders said they carried something greater courage and kindness in equal measure. ARI and gathered the council once more. The meeting was different this time. There was light, there was food, and there was hope. We owe them our lives, said Sira, but I fear the danger that follows them. Erin nodded. Yes, danger is near. But look at our people. They stand again. They smile again. The humans have shown us what strength with mercy looks like. Whatever comes next, we will face it beside them. Above them, Unseen but ever present, the human gunship kept its quiet watch, engines humming like a distant heartbeat. The dawn on Rithora was quiet. Thin clouds drifted over the horizon, painted gold by the rising sun. The human camp stood firm, its lights fading as the day began. The shelters glowed softly, reflecting the bright sky. The Rithene had begun to rebuild their lives. Children laughed again. Farmers tested the soil with cautious hope. Commander Myra walked among them, checking progress with her officers. The human builders had finished 10 new shelters and started repairing the old Rethan energy plant. Medics were training local volunteers to run the new clinics. The air, once filled with fear, now carried a sense of purpose. But above that calm surface, the watchful eyes of the human gunship scanned the sky. Its sensors searched for anything unusual. On the second morning, they found it. Inside the command tent. The communication officer turned sharply toward Myra. "Commander, incoming signal detected. Multiple signatures approaching from outer orbit. Estimated arrival within 12 hours. His calm expression hardened. "Show me." The screen displayed a cluster of red blips closing in fast. The computer read their energy output. Old but dangerous ships. Pirate class. Myra folded her arms. So it begins. She contacted her senior crew aboard the gunship. "Prepare defensive formation. Keep altitude above the colony. Do not engage until I give the order. We must protect civilians first." The officer on the screen saluted. "Understood, Commander." Patrol Alpha ready. News spread quickly through the camp. The Rithene saw the humans moving faster than before. Drones lifted off from crates. Defensive turrets were placed around the shelters. The builders who once held tools now carried compact rifles slung across their backs. Sarah approached Mira near the command tent. "The people are afraid again," she said softly. "They see your soldiers preparing for war. Tell me, Commander, is danger that close?" Mira nodded once. "Yes. We believe raiders are coming. They saw your signal and came to take what little you have left." Sarah looked down. "That is how the others treated us before. They took our food, our young, and our peace." Mira placed a hand on her shoulder. "That will not happen this time. We are here." Sarah's voice trembled. "But you are few. They will come with many ships." Mira smiled faintly. "Sometimes strength is not in numbers, but in will. Earth has learned this many times." That evening, Aaron called an open meeting in the largest shelter. Every family gathered inside, whispering with worry. The air smelled of dust and oiled. Aaron raised his voice. "The humans tell us danger is coming. We have a choice. We can flee to the mountains or stay here under their protection." An old Rethan stood up. "We have fled enough. Every time we run, we lose more. If the humans will stand, I will stand too." A wave of murmurs followed. Sarah stepped forward. "Then we stay. If this is our last home, let it be defended with courage." When the message reached Mira, she nodded proudly. "They will not run. Good. It will help them believe in themselves again." The human base moved into full defense mode. Engineers reinforced the shelters with metal plating. Medics stocked underground storage with supplies. The gunship, TFS Guardian, adjusted its orbit directly above the valley. Its engines glowed like a blue sun, casting light over the city below. Night fell again. But this time, it brought tension instead of peace. The stars shimmered faintly, and every Rethan eye turned upward. Then, as the dark deepened, streaks of light cut through the sky. Contact confirmed. The gunship reported through the communicator. 5 enemy vessels entering atmosphere. Pirate identification confirmed. They are armed. Mira stood in the command tent, eyes locked on the map. "Keep communication open. Ground team ready. No one fires first. Let them make the mistake." The pirates came in ships patched with metal and rust. Their engines screamed through the clouds as they descended toward the valley. They expected fear. They expected surrender. What they saw instead made them hesitate below them, stood rows of shelters glowing with bright white lights. Around those shelters, human soldiers in dark armor stood ready, calm, and silent. The gunship above cast a blue beam across the horizon, tracking every hostile movement. The pirate leader opened a channel. His voice crackled through the air. "Unknown forces, this planet belongs to us. Step aside, humans, and we may let you live." Myra answered through the translator. Her tone was cold but clear. "This colony is under Terran protection. Turn back now," laughter came through the signal. "Terran protection? Earth is small and foolish. You think one ship can stop us?" Mira looked up at the glowing sky. "Try and find out." The first shot came from the pirates. A missile streaked toward the colony. Before it could reach the ground, a burst of blue light from the gunship intercepted it, exploding harmlessly in the upper air. Then the sky roared. The TFS Guardian opened fire with precision strikes. Its plasma cannons hit the pirate ships one by one. The first ship lost an engine and spun away. The second broke apart in flames. The remaining three began evasive maneuvers. But the humans were faster. Ground-based drones launched small missiles that targeted engines and weapons. The Rathene watched from behind shelters, wide-eyed as the night sky flashed with light. Inside the command tent, Mira gave orders with calm precision. "Team 1, secure the north line. Team 2, protect the clinics. Medics stand by for casualties." Within minutes, 2 pirate ships were destroyed. The third tried to escape, but the Guardian pursued and forced it down into the mountains beyond the valley. When the battle ended, silence returned. The stars shone bright again, and smoke drifted slowly into the upper sky. At dawn, the Rathene walked out of their shelters. They saw the burned wrecks of pirate ships scattered across the plain. Human engineers were already at work, removing debris and checking for survivors. Children ran to Mira, their eyes full of wonder. "You saved us," one said. Mira knelt and smiled. "You saved yourselves. You stayed strong." Aaron approached with Sira beside him. He looked around at the rebuilt city, the humans working side by side with his people, and the shining gunship still watching above. "I did not think anyone would fight for us," Aaron said. Mira answered quietly. "We do not fight for conquest. We fight to protect what deserves to live." Sira asked, "Why risk your soldiers and your ships for strangers?" Mira looked at her for a moment. "Once, long ago, humans nearly destroyed their own world. It took everything we had to rebuild it. We learned that helping others is how we protect ourselves. If no one stands for the weak, then no one is safe." The Rathene listened in silence. These humans, from a small blue planet, carried a spirit that seemed larger than the stars. Later that day, the medics and Rathine volunteers began tending to the few wounded. The builders worked to expand the shelters for the new arrivals who would soon come from distant outposts. The human officers inspected the captured pirate gear and removed dangerous items. Aaron walked among his people and saw how different they looked now. Their faces were no longer empty. Their steps had purpose. Hope had returned to their eyes. That evening, as the sun set behind the hills, the Rathene gathered again in the open square. They lit small lamps made from metal scraps and pieces of glass. Mira and her team joined them. Sira spoke first. "The humans fought not only for us, but beside us. They have shown that strength and kindness can walk together." The crowd cheered softly, their voices rising into the night. Aaron turned to Mira and said, "You have given us back our courage. We will not forget." Mira smiled. "Then promise me this. When you are strong again, and another voice calls for help, you will answer." Aaron nodded. "We will." That night, as the humans rested in their shelters, the Guardian continued its silent patrol. Its lights reflected on the valley below. The Rathene children pointed at it from their windows and whispered stories about the humans who came from the stars with both healing hands and mighty wings, for the first time in many years. The people of Rethora slept without fear. Above them, the Terran gunship kept its steady watch. Its crew remained alert, scanning for danger. They did not celebrate or rest completely, For they knew one truth piece was not given. It was guarded. And somewhere beyond the edge of the system, another signal went out. Not a call for help this time, but a message sent by pirates who had survived. They warned others about the humans. They said, "Do not attack where Earth has set foot. They come with builders and healers, but behind them flies a storm." Morning light fell softly over the valley of Rithora. The ground was quiet. The smoke from the battle had faded, and the air smelled of metal and new earth. The humans and Rethan worked together from sunrise. The sound of engines, hammers, and laughter echoed across the rebuilt settlement. For the first time in many cycles, the Rethine people did not wake up to fear. They woke up to purpose. Commander Mira stood near the edge of the valley, watching the new buildings rise. Her armor was dusty from work, but her face was calm. The TFS Guardians still floated above, silver body shining in the sun like a promise of safety. Aaron approached her with quiet steps. "Commander, our people are alive because of you," he said. Mira shook her head. "Because of us, Aaron. We fought together. That is what matters." Aaron looked over the growing colony. "It is strange. For so long, our hands built only graves. Now they build homes again." Mira smiled. "That is what builders are meant to do." The humans began training the Rethan to use the new technology. Engineers taught them how to repair solar panels, how to run water filters, and how to keep the generators clean. Medics showed local healers how to use scanning tools and medicines. At first, the Rethan were shy. They had never worked beside a species so bold and direct, but the humans were patient. They laughed often, shared stories of Earth, and treated the Rethan as equals. One human engineer named Jonas taught a group of Rethan children how to build small drones. They watched with excitement as the tiny machines lifted into the air. Jonas laughed as one of the children clapped their hands in delight. "See," he said, "machines listen when you respect them." The Rethan child replied, "Do machines respect you too?" Jonas smiled. "Sometimes they do, sometimes they do not. But we try." Meanwhile, the medics had discovered something strange in the soil. Dr. Lena, leader of the medical team, studied her readings carefully. She approached Mira that afternoon. "Commander, I found a radiation pattern near the southern ridge. It is stronger than before. It may cause sickness again if left unchecked." Mira frowned. "Is it spreading?" "Yes, slowly. But I think it is not natural. It looks like leftover energy from an old mining reactor." Aaron, who was nearby, heard them. "That mine was sealed many years ago after the storms. We thought it was dead." Lena looked toward the hills. "It is not dead. It is bleeding poison into the air." Mira thought for a moment. "Then we will stop it." That evening, she called a team together. Builders, medics, and a few Rethine volunteers joined her. They loaded their equipment into transport vehicles and moved toward the southern ridge. The sun was setting behind them, painting the sky orange and red. The road to the ridge was rough and silent. Broken machines and old mining structures stood like skeletons. The wind carried a faint hum of energy from deep underground. When they reached the site, the scanners began to beep. Lena spoke first. "The radiation is high. We cannot stay long." Myra looked at the dark tunnel ahead. "We will seal it permanently." They worked through the night. Human builders set up shields while the Rethan carried heavy tools. Together, they placed energy barriers at the mine's entrance and poured layers of fusion foam to block the radiation. When they finished, the ground shook slightly, then went still. The readings dropped. "It is done," Lena said with relief. The Rethin volunteers cheered. One of them, a young miner named Talo, said, "You humans came from far away, yet you work as if this world were your own." Ira smiled. "Maybe every world that needs help belongs to us a little." When they returned to the colony, the people greeted them with joy. Food was shared, lights were lit, and the Rethin sang songs of survival. Mira and her team sat among them, listening quietly. The humans did not understand all the words, but they understood the feeling, gratitude, and hope. Aaron stood before the crowd. "The humans came when no one else would. They fought for us, healed us, and helped us rebuild. But what I have learned most is not their strength. It is their heart. They believe that to protect life is the highest duty. The crowd cheered, their voices echoing through the valley. Myra looked around and saw children playing near the shelters. Their laughter filled the air. She felt something warm inside her chest. Maybe, she thought, this is what peace is meant to look like. But peace never stays untouched for long. 2 weeks after the battle, the gunship detected another signal. This one was smaller and faster, coming from deep space. It was not a pirate ship, but a communication probe. Inside the command tent, Mira watched the decoded message on the screen. The signal came from the Central Terran Fleet Command. It read, "Commander Myra, your report has reached Earth. The Council wishes to extend permanent aid to Rithora. Prepare for construction of a defensive station and long-term settlement." Myra smiled slightly. Earth had not forgotten them. She turned to Aaron, who stood beside her. "My people have decided to stay. We will build a station here, orbiting your planet. It will protect this world and others near it." Aaron was surprised. "You would stay even after the danger has passed?" "Yes," Myra said, "because danger always returns, and we do not leave until those we help can protect themselves." Construction began soon after. Massive modules were delivered from orbit. Human and Rethan workers joined forces to lift the structures into place. The sound of engines filled the valley again, but this time it was a sound of creation, not war. The new station was named Haven 1. It would serve as both defense and training center. Human engineers taught the Rethian how to pilot small patrol ships, how to monitor radar signals, and how to repair armor. Children who once hid during storms now dreamed of flying among the stars. Sira, who had once feared the humans, now worked as a translator and bridge between both species. She stood with Mira one evening, watching the half-built station rise into the sky. "When you leave," she said softly, "will you ever come back?" Mira looked at her. "Yes. Humans always return to those who call for them." Sira nodded. "Then we will keep the light of this station burning, so you can always find your way back." Weeks passed. The colony grew larger. New greenhouses sprouted near the rivers. The Ratheen began planting crops again. Birds returned to the valley, but far beyond the system, whispers spread among the stars. The pirates who survived the battle had told others about the humans. Many refused to believe their story. They said humans are too young to stand against fleets. But others remembered the stories of Earth's rise and knew it was true. One pirate captain, who had lost his ship, swore revenge. He began gathering allies in the shadows, planning another strike. The Retheen did not know it yet, but the peace they had built was being watched once more. Back on Rithora, Mira received reports of strange movements on the outer borders. She called her officers together. "We must prepare for the future," she said. "Not every enemy will attack directly. Some will test us first." Her team nodded. They trusted her completely. That night, Mira walked alone to the monument the Rethan had built after the battle. It was made of stone and metal, shaped like two hands joined together. At its base were words written in both Rethan and Terran languages. "When Earth shelters you, no shadow dares to follow." She placed her hand on the cold stone. "Let us hope those words stay true," she whispered. Behind her, the Guardian moved silently across the sky, keeping its endless watch. In the following days, training continued. Young Ratheen learned how to pilot drones and operate defense systems. The humans trained them patiently, teaching discipline and courage. Aaron often visited the training ground. He watched the Rethine soldiers marching in lines beside human instructors. "Our people have changed," he said to Sira. "They walk taller now." Sira smiled. "Because they believe again." Aaron looked toward the horizon. "I hope they never have to fight. But if they do, they will not stand alone." One evening, a transport ship from Earth arrived. It carried supplies, books, and communication arrays. It also carried a message from the Terran Council. The message praised Myra and her crew for their bravery and confirmed that Rithora was now under official Terran protection. When the message was read aloud, cheers filled the valley. The humans and Rethan celebrated together. During the celebration, Eren raised a cup of clear water and said to the humans who came from the blue world, "You gave us more than shelter. You gave us the courage to live again." Myra lifted her cup in reply. To the Rethine, "You remind us why we fight, why we build, and why we heal." The night was filled with laughter and song. Music echoed against the mountains. The stars above seemed brighter than ever before. Later, when the crowd rested, Mira stood with Lena and Jonas near the edge of the camp. "We have done well," Jonas said. "It almost feels like home here." Lena smiled. "Every place that finds peace feels like home." Mira looked up at the stars. "Then we must protect it. Peace is fragile. We hold it only by our hands and our will." The others nodded. As the night deepened, the valley fell silent again. The Guardian glided above, steady as ever. Its engines hummed softly like a distant heartbeat. The sun rose over Rithora, painting the valley with golden light. The air smelled of new soil and fresh water. The Rethine colony had grown stronger. Shelters were taller, greenhouses fuller, and the people moved with renewed energy. Children ran through the fields, laughing, while the humans worked alongside them. Commander Mira stood on the ridge, observing the activity below. The TFS Guardian floated high above, scanning the skies for danger. Everything appeared calm, yet her instincts whispered otherwise. She checked the sensors again. There it was, a faint signal coming from beyond the system. Small, fast ships, moving carefully so they could avoid detection. Mira frowned. "They are testing us," she said quietly. Inside the human command tent, she called her officers together. "We have incoming scouts. They are not yet attacking, but they are observing," she said. "We need to prepare, but we do not panic the colony." One of the officers, Lieutenant Kalen, looked up. "Commander, how many ships?" "5. They are small, but dangerous," Mira replied. "They may report back to a larger force." The humans quickly adjusted patrol routes. Drones were deployed to track the intruders. Ground sensors were calibrated to detect movement. Engineers reinforced key buildings with hidden energy shields. The Rethan watched quietly, learning every step. Eren and Sira walked through the training ground, observing the new recruits. Young Rethine had begun training as defenders under human supervision. They learned how to operate drones, monitor the horizon, and react to threats. Sira whispered to Eren, "They are brave, but they have never faced real enemies. Will they be ready?" Eren nodded slowly. "They may not be, but humans teach more than skills. They teach courage." Nearby, Mira demonstrated a defensive drill. She moved with precise steps, coordinating drones to create a protective perimeter. The Rethina recruits followed, mimicking her movements. One young soldier, Talo, stumbled, but quickly regained his balance. Mira smiled at him. Strength is not about never falling. It is about rising every time. The Rethine nodded, understanding her words. By evening, the scout ships drew closer. Their sensors detected the colony, but they did not attack. They circled high above, sending brief signals back to distant fleets. Mira and her officers observed silently, noting every movement. "Their leader is cautious," Lieutenant Kalen said. "They may be testing how quickly we respond." Mira replied, "Exactly. We cannot give them fear, but we must show readiness." She activated the Guardian's defense systems. Energy cannons moved into position, tracking each scout ship. Drones spread across the valley, scanning the terrain. Humans worked calmly, as if preparing for a normal day. The Rethan, however, could feel the tension. Children hid near their parents. Farmers paused in the fields. But Eren walked among them, his calm presence spreading confidence. Night fell. Stars shimmered above. The scouts remained in orbit, silent watchers. The humans continued training and repairs, never letting fear show. Mira met with the Rethine leaders. "Your people are learning quickly," she said. "They are ready to face small threats, but we must prepare for more." "Pirates do not attack alone," Eren asked. "Will they return in larger numbers?" "Yes, they always do," Myra replied. That is why we build not only shelters, but defenses. Strength is more than weapons. It is readiness, courage, and unity. Sira nodded, understanding for the first time the depth of human strategy. They fight not to conquer, but to protect, she whispered. Mira placed a hand on her shoulder. And that is why we will never fail those who rely on us. The next morning, the colony continued its work. Greenhouses were expanded, water filters repaired, and the newly built shelters stood taller and sturdier. Children practiced drills with the humans, learning how to take cover, communicate, and stay safe. Tallow and other young Rethan were assigned to watch stations. Mira observed them, satisfied. The humans had taught them courage, and the Rethine were responding. Suddenly a flare lit the night sky from the horizon. One of the scout ships had moved closer to the valley. Sensors detected it. Mira ordered the drones to intercept. The scout tried to flee, but the drones tracked it precisely. The ship was forced into a nearby canyon, trapped. Mira activated the communicator. "Rethan scouts," she said, "do not be afraid. This is a warning. We are ready, and we protect this colony." The trapped scout sent one last signal before shutting down. Its message was a warning. A larger fleet would follow. Mira looked at the Rethan leaders. "They will come," she said, "but we will not be afraid. We will fight together, humans and Rethan." Aaron felt a surge of confidence. "Then we must train harder and prepare the colony fully. They will learn that this world will not be easy to take." The next days were filled with preparation. Human engineers installed advanced shields on critical buildings. Medics ensured everyone had clean water and medicine. Young Rethine learned navigation, communications, and defensive maneuvers. Myra emphasized teamwork above all. Strength alone does not win battles. Trust, coordination, and courage win them. During one evening, a council was held outside the main shelter. Humans and Rethan sat together. Mira spoke to the leaders. "The pirates who attacked before are returning with more ships. We have detected multiple fleets moving toward this system, but we are ready. Haven 1 is operational. Our defenses are strong, and your people are learning to fight alongside us. If they come, we will meet them together." Sira raised a question. "Will they come for our children?" Mira shook her head firmly. "No, we fight to protect life, especially those who cannot defend themselves. That is what humans do." Aaron looked around at the crowd. "Then we will stay strong together." The next week, scouts reported large movements in deep space. Hundreds of small ships were assembling. It was clear the pirates were uniting. The humans quickly built additional defenses around the valley. Energy turrets were placed along ridges. Drones patrolled the skies. The Guardian adjusted its orbit to cover every possible approach. Rethan soldiers trained relentlessly. They practiced coordination with human squads. They learned how to operate small energy rifles and defensive drones. They began to understand strategy. One evening, Tallow approached Mira. "Commander, I am ready to fight if it comes." Mira smiled at him. "Bravery is not about wanting to fight. It is about knowing why you fight. Remember that." Tallow nodded. He felt pride in standing beside the humans. At night, the valley was quiet again. Families rested. Children slept safely in new shelters. Mira walked among the buildings, checking systems. She looked at the stars. Somewhere beyond them, the pirate fleets were assembling. She knew the storm would come. But she also knew the Rethine were no longer helpless. She stood near the monument built after the last battle. Its metal and stone hands reached toward the sky. It reminded her of what humans and Rethan had built together. Protection, courage, and hope. "Let them come," she whispered. "They will see strength and mercy together. They will learn that this colony will not fall." Behind her, the Guardian glowed softly, a silent sentinel. The Rethan slept peacefully, unaware of the watchers gathering beyond the system. The next day, Mir gathered the humans and Rethan for a final review. "We train not just for today, but for tomorrow," she said. "The enemy will come. We must be ready, but we do not fear." Together, we are more than they expect. Builders, medics, and soldiers. That is our strength. That is how we survive. Aaron looked at her. You have taught us more than skill. You have taught us courage. We will not forget, Sierra added, and we will stand, ready, as you have taught us. Mira nodded. Then we are ready. Let them come. They will see that the Rethene and humans stand as one. As the sun set again, the valley glowed under soft lights. The Guardian floated above, ever watchful. Humans and Rethen worked and rested side by side. The scouts that had been trapped were repaired and sent back to report. Their message was simple. The colony is defended by humans and unknown allies. Approach at your peril. Some pirates hesitated. Others began whispering of caution. Stories of humans spread further than anyone expected. Mira looked at the Rethen. Our work is not done, but you have grown strong. Never forget what you have learned. Never forget courage. Together, we can face anything. Aaron nodded, watching the humans return to their tasks. He realized that strength was not only in power or weapons, it was in hope, in unity, and in the willingness to stand for those who cannot stand for themselves. The dawn over Rithora was crisp and clear. Birds returned to the trees, and fresh streams ran through the valley. The Rethene colony had grown strong. Shelters stood tall. Greenhouses were full of crops, and every person moved with confidence. Children laughed as they ran along the paths, their energy unafraid of the past. Commander Mira stood on a ridge, the TFS Guardian hovering above, its silver hull gleaming. She scanned the skies for any signs of danger. The humans had taught the Rethene not only to rebuild but to be vigilant. Aaron joined her, his eyes calm but focused. The pirates will return, he said. Mira nodded. Yes, but we are ready. We have built more than walls and weapons. We have built courage, and that is stronger than any fleet. Below, the Rethene and humans worked together to fortify the colony. Engineers reinforced shelters with energy shielding. Medics set up mobile clinics across the valley. Young Rethene learned to operate drones and monitor sensors. The humans guided them with patience, correcting mistakes but always encouraging their effort. One group of children ran toward Myra, holding small training drones. Commander, watch, shouted Tallow. He activated the drone, which flew in a perfect circle around them. Myra smiled. Well done. You are learning fast. Aaron watched the scene and felt pride. The Rethene were no longer passive observers. They were participants, ready to defend themselves and their home. Far beyond the system, the pirate fleet approached. Hundreds of small ships had gathered in silence. Their leaders were confident. They remembered the last attack and believed that the humans could be defeated. What they did not realize was that Rithora had changed. It was no longer a helpless world. Mira and her officers monitored the fleet from the Guardian. They have underestimated us, she said. That will be their mistake. Lieutenant Kalen checked the sensors. They are in range. They do not seem aware of our full defenses. Mira nodded. Then we will show them. As the pirates entered the outer atmosphere, humans and Rethine moved into position. The Guardian adjusted its orbit while drones patrolled the skies. Energy turrets were set along the ridges. Medics were stationed in underground shelters, ready for any injured. The Rethen soldiers, led by trained human officers, took their posts. Tallow stood at a drone control station, his hands steady. He looked at Mira. We are ready. Mira nodded. Courage guides the hands, but wisdom guides the mind. The first pirate ships fired. Missiles streaked toward the valley. Immediately, human drones intercepted them, exploding the missiles in midair. Energy turrets fired with precision, targeting the pirate engines. The Guardian moved into position, its cannons glowing blue. The pirates were surprised. Their attacks failed. They had not expected such precise defense. From the ground, the Rethen watched in awe. The humans did not fight recklessly. Every movement had a purpose. Every strike was coordinated. The Rethen began to understand the meaning of strength with mercy. Mira gave orders calmly. Drones intercept left flank. Turrets cover the valley. Guardian neutralize the command ship. The pirate leader tried to change formation, but it was too late. The Guardian fired a focus beam at their command ship, disabling engines without harming life aboard. Panic spread among the pirates. The humans continued to defend with precision. Medics tended to a few minor injuries, ensuring everyone remained calm. The Rethan took part, operating drones and guiding civilians to safety. The battle was intense but controlled. Humans and Rethan worked as one. Pirate fleet began to retreat, their confidence shattered. When the battle ended, the sky cleared. The Guardian hovered above, scanning for any remaining threats. The pirates who had survived fled into the void. Aaron walked among his people, observing their faces. They were tired, but alive. Their eyes shone with newfound courage. Mira approached him. "You have done well," she said. "Your people fought beside us. That is the greatest victory of all." Aaron smiled. "We did not know we had strength. You taught us, and we followed. Together, we are stronger than we imagined." Sira joined them, and we will continue to be ready. No threat will take this valley while we stand together. In the following days, the Rethan repaired the damage from the battle. Human engineers helped rebuild the fields and shelters. Medics ensured no one suffered from injuries or stress. The children resumed their studies and games, laughing as if the battle had only been a story. Mira supervised the efforts. "We did not come just to fight," she reminded the Rethan leaders. "We came to help you rebuild. Defense is only part of survival. Knowledge and courage ensure your world will endure." Aaron nodded. "We understand now. We will remember your lessons always." To honor the humans, the Rethan built a monument near the valley's center. It was shaped like two hands joined, holding a flame. On the base, words were engraved in both Rethan and Terran languages. "When Earth shelters you, no shadow dares to follow." The humans joined the ceremony. Commander Mira stood beside Aaron and Sira, watching as the Rethan lit the flame. Children placed small tokens of thanks around the monument. Talo looked up at Mira. "Will you stay?" Mira smiled. "We will always return if we are needed." "But this flame will remind you that courage lives in your hearts." The colony flourished. Crops thrived, rivers ran clean, and shelters expanded. The Rethan began teaching their children the lessons they learned from humans. Courage, cooperation, and preparation became part of daily life. The Guardian remained in orbit as a permanent sentinel. Humans continued to visit from Earth, bringing new tools, supplies, and knowledge. The Rethan grew stronger, capable of defending themselves if necessary. Months later, Aaron stood on the ridge with Mira. The valley stretched below, alive with life and color. Birds sang, children played, and humans moved among the Rethan as equals. Aaron said softly, "We asked for shelter, and you gave us more than that. You gave us hope, courage, and strength." Mira nodded. "It was not just us. Your people embraced the lesson. You've learned that strength is not only in power, but in unity and care for one another." Sira added, "We will carry this legacy forward." "Your arrival changed us forever." Mira placed a hand on the monument. "Then it will stand as a reminder. Shelter is more than walls. Shelter is hope. Shelter is courage. And together, humans and Rethan have built it stronger than any storm." The sun set over the valley. The flame on the monument flickered in the wind, a symbol of survival and unity. The Guardian hovered above, watching quietly. The Rethan slept peacefully. The humans prepared to return to Earth, knowing they had left something greater than buildings behind. They had left strength, courage, and the memory of mercy in action, far beyond the system.
The remaining pirates shared the story of the humans who came to Rethora. They told of builders, medics, and gunships who fought not for conquest, but for protection.
The legend spread across the stars, carrying one truth. Wherever humans go, they bring more than force. They bring hope, courage, and shelter. Years later, children of both species would play in the valley. They would grow up learning the story of the first humans who came from the stars. They would learn that strength could be gentle, that courage could heal, that shelter was more than walls. Arn watched a young Rethan girl teach a human child how to plant seeds. He smiled. The valley was alive. Rethan were strong. And the humans had left a legacy that would endure for generations. Mira looked at the stars. Somewhere, far away, Earth waited. She knew that if the Rethin ever needed help again, humans would answer the call. Because shelter is not temporary. Shelter is a promise. And a promise once given is never broken. The sun disappeared behind the mountains, leaving the valley bathed in golden light. The flame on the monument continued to burn, and above, the guardian remained, silent and watchful. A reminder that courage and protection were always close. The Rethin had survived. They had rebuilt. And they had learned that even in the darkest hours, hope could shine brighter than the stars.